Well, hello everyone. Sylvia here from Rock the Cradle. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I want to go weekly. I want to go live weekly, and I had set the time for 2 o'clock, and it's 2:10. But hey, it is what it is. I'm here. You're here. So let's do this. I wanted to chat with you about birth plans. It is a question we get a lot in our doula agency. Should you be making birth plans for your birth? And what an interesting question. You could think that it would be pretty cut and dry, right? A yes or a no. And like everything mommy related, there is a yes camp and there is a no camp, right? The yes camps are usually people who are very organized and they, not to generalize, but they will want to have a plan. They plan everything. They hire the doulas really early on. They know they have a plan, they have an idea, and they will bring a plan with them to their births, and they do know what they want. There is the no plan. No, why bother? The no planners, why bother having a birth plan when we know for the most part that birth is not going to go the way we plan it, is it? And I was thinking of that. Even the words birth plan, it's like an oxymoron. Can we really plan how birth will go? And which got me thinking, well, your doctors and caregivers and hospitals really like to think so. They've taken birth over time now, and they are, putting protocols in place, and it is really looking like, okay, well, birth happens this way. A plus B equals C minus D equals F, and that's how birth is, and not letting lots of different variables in. And I was thinking about that going, well, no, actually, every birth unfolds quite differently if we let it. For some it will be short, some will be long, and some people will not want any medication, others will, and all of these different variables. So it's not A plus B equals C. Birth is not like that. But in the structures that we have put birth into, and I'm talking into and even some of the birthing centers, there's nothing, I see this everywhere, is that excuse me, we want it to be, oh my gosh, I'm going live here and I don't have anything. We want birth to be, oh my gosh, I'm losing my voice, look at this, sorry about that. For people who are on board, I normally have water here and I don't have any water. I don't know what happened. We want it to fit into the structures that we've put in place, and that has protocols. Hospitals have protocols, they have rules, birthing centers have rules, and that's what we follow. So should we have a birth plan? That's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're watching, if are you pregnant, or have you already given birth? Did you write a birth plan? I know here in Montreal, some hospitals provide the birth plan, and some of them are checklists. Others, it's blank lines, tell us what you want and we'll try as best as we can to get it done. Other places don't give a birth plan. I assisted a prenatal visit, I guess, at one of the hospitals here, and one of the questions was, should we bring our birth plan in? And then the nurse giving the tour was like, well, what do you think? The doctors know best, and they don't need a plan, they know what they're doing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how far have we not come since the dawn of the ages. So let's talk about that. I'm going to say, so can we actually, what is the birth plan? I actually, call it birth wishes instead. And I think it is a great exercise to do when you are pregnant. And it's all about knowing your options. If you've worked with me before, worked with some of our team members, you know that we're all about options. And if you don't know what your options are, well, then, things might not go your way, or you might regret it later on. You just want to be knowledgeable, because knowledge is power. I always say that knowledge is power. It's also, so what do I say to our clients is like, well, look at all of your options and what resonates with you. What kind of birth are you, perhaps dreaming of and hoping for? There is nothing wrong with dreaming about your ideal birth. Of course not. And we as a team and your team, your spouse and your caregivers, we all want what's best for you, and you know what's best for you. So by looking at all your options, whether it be environment, the culture of the hospital, your team members, the doctors, your doulas, who's going to be in the room with you, is your mom going to be there, all of these options, there will be some really clear cut ideas that come forth when you're doing this exercise. I also think it's a great exercise to do with your partner or the person who is going to be accompanying you, so that they're on board and they know, how best to support you, because often they don't know birth. If it's your spouse and it's a first time baby for the both of you, well, you might not you both might not know what the various options are. So by doing this together, there's no surprise when it comes, to your birth and saying, hey, well, no, I don't want the medication just yet. Or yes, when I say this, this word, that's what it means. I want an epidural right away. So it's getting, your team and including your doula as well, to the same space before your birth. Learning about the tools and protocols of your place of birth, that's super important too. So as you're going down your list, well, what does your caregiver, where does your place of birth, what do they offer? We often think, in birth, oh, it's just an epidural. Well, that's not true. There are other types of tools that you can be using. So what does your place of birth offer that perhaps others don't? What resonates with you? And if you don't know some of these things, well, then you can go and learn about them. There's one tool that here I know two of them actually. One's called a TENS machine, and it gives you little electric shocks in your back. You put these paddles on your back, they stick to your back, and when you have a contraction, you can regulate it, and it gives you these little electric shocks. It's all about creating different pain receptors in the brain, and therefore increasing your endorphins. So if you don't know what the TENS machine is, you might just not even check it off. But I'm, invite you to look at the various options and learn about them, because there might be some really good ones that your hospital might be able to offer you, or some techniques that it's not even related to your hospital, but people you often see hypnobirthing on our list of birth wishes, and they might just cross it off, or they don't even ask the question about what is that and how can that perhaps help me. And so using this time to look at your birth wishes allows you to deepen your knowledge about birth, about the tools, and also about protocols. Here in one of our big hospitals, they don't have a bathtub. And I was like, oh my gosh, they just don't have a bath as one of their tools, which is one of the basic tools when you're birthing. Hot water, that's an amazing tool to soften some of the contractions. But they don't have that. So the people who go there without the knowledge of what tools are offered sometimes are very disappointed when they find out that perhaps the other hospital offers a lot more tools. Perhaps they offer some laughing gas. Perhaps they have a massage chair, or they have a birthing stool, just different things. But for me, the bathtub, check if your hospitals have bathtubs. They should. They should. It also allows, if you're doing this as a couple, like I suggested, it brings about discussions about your expectations. What are your expectations when it comes to birth, when it comes to the people at your birth? I've seen discussions between partners about what the birthing person is expecting from their spouse. Well, it's good that the spouse is knowledgeable about what's expected of him or her. So these are wonderful discussions that can happen, and that shouldn't happen at the birth per se, but it's all in the planning. So this is, we call the birth plan. I call it the birth wishes. So do I think it's an important tool? I think it's a yes and no. Yes, I do think a birth plan or a set of birth wishes is important. Actually, I think what's important is actually going through the process of creating your plan, allowing yourself to dream. In a perfect world, what would this look like? If I know I react like this to pain, well, how am I going to, what tools do I resonate with that will allow me to get through the day? And, where do I think becomes, not that it's not important, but what I would say is to avoid bringing a 10-page birth plan with you, right? That I see some really big birth plans, and even some that are, canned templates on internet. They are 5, 6, 7 pages long with, 30 questions. Those are not, you're right. The nurses and caregivers don't have that much time to go through a 10-page birth plan. So that is not what I do suggest. What do I suggest? I'll give you a couple tips before we close here. I suggest keeping it short to one page, like an 8 by 11. You can do your introduction at the top. Who are, your names, who are you, if you have any allergies, the basic information. If you have a doula, what is her name? If your mom is coming or your sister, put their names as well. It just helps when, for the staff. Then I bring it down, like maybe, mention your top 3 things that you would really, that, you hold dear and that you would really like to see happen if possible. I mean, there's always, if possible, there's never any guarantees that, perhaps like example, you really, really want to breastfeed. Well, we'll try their best after baby's born to get baby to latch, and it might not happen right then and there, but during your stay, the staff will work with you to do that. So really putting maybe just your top 3 things that you would like to see. Perhaps it's keeping baby on you for more than 3 minutes, doing delayed cord clamping, whatever it is. So just stating those at the top. And then number 3 might come as a surprise. Once we've done this, I'm going to ask you to let it go. Let the plan go. Send it out to the universe. If that's too much for you, just let it go and know that your birth plan and your birth actually will unfold as it will. But because you have the knowledge, at each turning point, you will be able to make the right decisions for you and your family. So I'm going to leave it there. If you have questions about birth plans, if you would like a sample birth plan, you can always send us an email or tag, send a PM through Facebook. My email is info@rockthecradle.ca. If you are in need of classes or would like some extra help, perhaps, and want to doula at your birth, you can always reach out to us at rockthecradle.ca. I look forward to chatting with you next Tuesday. And until then, I wish you a wonderful, wonderful week. Bye.